Today I have a pop-up box card, and it doesn't look pop-up right now, but let me show you what it does. Here it is flat, and I will show you the side just to make sure you see that it is indeed flat. It's got a little bit of thickness to it, but then when you open it up, the flaps open and they reveal a sweet surprise on the inside. So if you're interested in seeing just how to make this card, and it's really simple, please stay tuned. Today I'll be using the Sweet Life foil paper towel, Tasty Sweets Dazzles, and this comes in brown, the double-sided Sweet Life paper pack, comes with 12 sheets of paper. I'll just give you a preview of the paper on the back. Very fun, whimsical designs. The confetti cake satin ribbon set, which this actually is coordinated with one of the Artful card kits that have been discontinued. However, these colors match really well the colors in the Sweet Life pack. So let me just show you here. There's some really bright fun colors in here and in here. So I thought I'd include that with this set. And finally, last but not least, the pop-up box die cut card kit. And this comes with 5 pieces to make 5 cards and 5 envelopes. So this card is really nifty, as you'll see in a second. But it's actually a box that you can set up, but you can also fold it flat so that you can actually mail it. And on the package it has this pattern, which you'll need to cover some of the sides of your card, and I'll just go through that process with you as I make my card. But I just wanted to show you, it has 2 little pieces of acetate, which you're supposed to cut into thin 1/4 inch wide strips, and that's kind of what holds these little things that are popping up in the center of the box. And there you'll see 2 kind of strips in the middle. These are those strips. So there's 2 die cut strips that have little score lines on the top and bottom, and those will be used on the inside of the card. This is the actual piece that this comes with, and the envelope is a square. Now be mindful that if you're mailing this in the United States, they do charge a little bit extra to mail a square. I think it just has to do with the machines and how they sort them and arrange them and the address thing and everything. So anyway, just be mindful of that. Plus, make sure the thickness. If you do one of these, it'll most likely be also a little bit thick. But just check with the post office and see how you can mail this. It's definitely not going to be too expensive, but it'll be more than just a letter. Alright, well now let's get started. So the pop-up box die cut card set comes with this package insert, and on the back you'll see the instructions. Now what I've been doing is just photocopying the back for the pattern, and then cutting the pattern out of the photocopy so that I can keep this nice for when I want to use it next. And it's also got a nice little card idea on the front. So I'll just set that aside for now. So I have photocopied it here, and I've just cut the square pattern out of that. And this is the only pattern you'll need for this die cut card because it repeats so many times. You just trace and cut 9 of these, and that'll be enough to cover all the panels you want. Now some of the panels you want to be different designs than others, so you'll just have to be aware of what panel you want each of your designs. Here is the card base itself, and it has score lines on each of these 3 panels, but on this one it has no score line. It is left solid. And then there's score lines going vertically between each of the panels as well, and on the tab as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is start folding along my score lines. So along each of these score lines, I'm going to do a valley fold so that my card comes together in the shape of a box. So first I'm going to fold in my tab here. I'm just using this plastic bone folder. I guess maybe in the olden days they used to actually make them out of ivory or something. I think that's why it's called bone folder, but basically it gives your creases a really nice sharp and crisp edge. So just fold the next one over. Make sure you're going along those scored lines. Some of them can be a little bit light, so you just have to make sure your creases are straight and correct on the lines. There we go. So I've got my 4 creases there, and then this tab is what will glue the end just like that. Next, I'm going to fold my 3 outer flaps. So those are going to be folded as mountain folds. So the flaps will go outward. So there's the first one, the second one, and the third one. There we go. So as you can see, it's starting to look like this box in the picture where you've got the box opened and the 3 flaps pointing out. Now the surfaces that you want to cover, you don't need to cover all of the surfaces, although you could. It'll take a little more time. But the ones that they recommend you cover are, of course, these 3 flaps, this back flap, just the top half of it, because the inside won't be seen as much. And then when you close, or sorry, let me do these panels as well. So 1, 2, 3. So we've got these 4 plus these 3 equals 7. And then when you fold this up, these 2 panels are going to remain showing when your card is flat. So you'll want to decorate these 2, so that's 8 and 9. So that's why it recommends you cut 9 squares of pattern paper. You could additionally decorate the very back, the backs of this panel right here, but it's really not necessary. So the first thing that I'm going to do is start decorating my card. Before I glue it together, I want to have most of the designs done on each of my panels so that I don't have to kind of do each one while it's assembled, if that makes sense. I'm going to try and decorate as much as I can before I glue anything. So I'm going to start with that square pattern, and as you can see here, it fits inside these squares with just the narrowest of white borders. So it's got a really nice, it'll be like a little mat, like a 16th inch mat around your pattern square. And you'll want to be mindful to which direction these flaps will be facing. So for example, if you want to put a greeting on one of these flaps, make sure that you put it the correct way in which it will be read. So when it's like this, it'll probably be upside down, but when it's open, it'll be right side up. So I hope you get my meaning. And then the inside is pretty straightforward. This long panel here is the back inside of your card, and that's what's going to pop up. So this is also a great area for greetings as well. So I'm just going to start by covering each of the squares with pattern paper. I'm just going to do the basic square on each of the panels with different papers from the Sweet Life paper pack. So I'll use a variety of patterns, and I'm not going to bore you with me cutting and tracing, so I'll be right back after I've covered them. I also just wanted to point out that this square pattern is not an actual square. It's 2 3/4 inch wide, but it is 2 about 7/8 inch tall. And that matters because if you have a design, for example, the ice cream cones that you want face up, you don't want to trace your square like this, you want to trace it like this. And those will end up right side up on your card. So these panels are slightly taller, very slightly taller than they are wide. Okay, so here's the inside of my pop-up box card. So I've got the brown multicolored dot, the red grid, green dot, and this is just a kind of a solid pink. And then on the outside, when these are laying down, it'll look like that. And then the base has just stripes all around these 3 panels. And then when you fold it up like this, I decided to cut 2 squares from the top of that border paper. So I cut them right next to each other, so it's kind of a continuous design across the break here. And then the bottom is just a stripe, as you saw before. So those are the 9 panels. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this area and this area here do not need to be covered, but that's pretty much it. And then the inside, of course, doesn't need to be covered. Alright, so now you can use Ultra Tape, which is a really strong double-sided adhesive, or you can use glue stick, which I just happen to have handy here. But you'll probably want to have kind of a lot of glue stick on here so that it's nice and sturdy. It creates a nice permanent bond. Okay. So bringing my other flap around and just sticking it to the inside. Just kind of holding it together for a few seconds so it creates that nice permanent bond there. And so this is how your card will stand up on your surface. Stands up like that. And then on the back here, what I've decided to go with is the Sweet Life foil paper towel. So since this piece is a little bit taller than the panel, I'm just going to scoot it down a little bit so it's kind of sitting inside a little, if you can kind of see that. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble this paper towel, glue it down, and then I'm going to take my 2 inner, I guess you would call it inner structure strips, and put those in. Alright, now that I have that foam taped on, so I foam taped the base layer on as well as each additional layer, so it's got that really nice dimensional look to it. Now I'm going to take these 2 die cut strips that come in the die cut card set, and I'm just going to fold along each of those score lines. There we go. So there's 1, and there's 2. So now I just put some glue on these folded tabs here. And take your card and put this inside. See how I'm doing that? And the tabs should be kind of flush with the top of the card, if you can. So once they're glued down, you'll have this kind of bridge across the middle, and that will create a surface on which to attach your little acetate strips that are going to hold some goodies up in the air. And then you go take the second one, same thing, glue stick, and then take your card. Now these tabs are going to go this way towards the front of your card, and I recommend trying to attach one at a time so that you can kind of control it a little bit better. So I'm attaching this one, and go over here on this side and attach this one, and then I just press down for a few seconds to reinforce the bond. Okay, so here's my card so far, and when I close it, I'll fold these flaps up and just flatten the box like that. Now you will have some dimension because of the paper towel and whatever you're going to stick inside this card, so that's why you just have to be aware when you try to mail this that you might want to either a padded envelope or you will definitely need more than a standard stamp, standard letter stamp. Okay, so now that I've got that done, I'm going to take my little piece of acetate. Now the kit comes with 2 pieces of this acetate, which is about 2 3/4 inch by 4 1/2. So, and then the instructions on the card package insert say to cut this into 1/4 inch strips. So you can either use your scissors and eyeball it or use your ruler and measure it. I'm just gonna eyeball it. And I actually just got these scissors. These are from Paper Wishes. They're the Westcott 7-inch titanium non-stick scissors. So let's see how these are working. Gotta love a new sharp pair of scissors. There's they are, I guess you could say these are equal, so that's kind of unusual. So I think you can use them on either hand. I'm not sure. I'm right-handed, so I don't know. But I'm just gonna cut a strip, and you can't see it because it's clear. But it's super easy, and those scissors are nice and sharp. So there's my strip. But anyway, take my word for it. It's there. It's really clear. So I'm going to cut a few more of those strips, and then I'll show you what I'm going to put on them. I'm going to be taking some of these dazzles and backing them with pattern paper, matting them on white cardstock, and then kind of floating them in the air in my pop-up box. Okay, so let's go through it. I'm just going to peel off the candy, what do you call this? Cotton candy here. What I usually like to do is lay the sticky side up on the back of my chosen paper, trace around the inside, and then cut around it just a little bit outside the line, and it'll be a perfect match for that shape. Or, this is maybe a little bit easier. For shapes like this that have pretty good lines, not too complicated, I'll just place that top part on the pink and take some short blade scissors and follow along the outer line. And the dazzles give you a nice solid line to follow. Alright, now that I've done this part, I can, oh, and I don't want to forget to go back and peel this little curvy line. Makes my cotton candy extra fluffy. There we go. And the back of this paper is this light blue, so I'm going to do the handle on that light blue. And this is super simple. Since I just did it on the edge, all I have to really cut is one straight cut. And there I have my cotton candy. Now what I'm going to do now is mat this on some white cardstock because I want it to be a little bit sturdier. So just put some glue stick on the back. Oops. Stick it down. And cut it out. So there's my finished cotton candy piece. Now when I go back on the card, I'm actually not going to need the acetate for this particular piece. It's just going to kind of stick up maybe on the side a little bit. I'll try not to cover the back too much, but it probably will end up getting partially covered anyway. So what I'm going to do is take some of these handy dandy Zips glue lines, and these are pretty permanent. Just gonna cut off about a ½ inch of a piece here, and I'm gonna place the tip of my cotton candy handle onto the zips. Press down, peel off the backing, and that tip is now very sticky. And I can place it wherever I want. And I'll go ahead and place it right about there. So, here we go. It still closes, still opens, cotton candy sticking out. And I'm going to do that with a few more sweets from the Tasty Treats Dazzles here. And then I'll be right back. So these two little cones are an example of what I would use on an acetate strip such as this. Hope you can see that. And I'm going to again use my zips. Just little, actually I can use my Zods for this since they're so small. What I'm doing is just pressing the little image onto the Zot and then peeling off the backing, and there's that glue dot. Taking my acetate strip, if I can find it, should have a better background. And then I'm just going to place it at an angle like this. Alright, so there's the strip, and there is the cone. So there it is. And then the second one, I'm going to also place on this strip. And that one is going to go kind of the opposite direction. Okay, so here is my strip, and then finally I'm going to take the zips, cut about 3/4 of an inch off. Place it on the front of my acetate strip, just on the bottom. Peel off the backing. So now this part is sticky. Arrange it on my card. Okay, right there. Stick it on. And there I have my floating ice cream cones. Kind of cool, huh? Alright, I'm going to go ahead and finish that part of the card, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here is my card flat. I'll open the flaps a little bit and let it open. And here we have a couple, there's my couple of floating items. We've got the ice cream cones, these are little candies, and then popsicles and cotton candy. And then on each of these panels we've got something a little different. So we've got the stacked cone, You're So Sweet. And for these I just cut into rectangles, cut a V in the end, matted it on white, really simple to do, foam taped on there. And then Sweet, I backed each of the letters with pink and red alternating. And then here is some watermelon, and I noticed that it kind of looks like a funky little smiley face, so I thought that was kind of fun. And the back, or the front view, looks kind of like this. Okay, so I'm done decorating the inside, or the main look of my card, and now I'm just going to add some ribbon to the front. And with the Confetti Cake satin ribbon set, you're going to get 6 yard long or 36-inch long pieces of satin ribbon. So I'm going to take the pink piece And I'm gonna make it wrap all the way around my card. And then I'm gonna make the bow land right about here. So what I do first is take some of these medium Zots. Now you can do zips, just sometimes if I just want like a little dot, or I guess a medium dot of glue, I'll use the medium zips. And then I'll just place them in strategic areas. So I'm going to place one right here. And then I'll place my ribbon, sort of the middle of the ribbon, right there, over it. So it'll secure it to the back. And then I'll do the same thing several times. And you can even do it on the ribbon too, so you make sure it lands on the ribbon. So press down to the ribbon, then peel off, then place. And there it is, right at the edge. Do another one on this side. Okay, and then to the front, a couple more. Do one right here and one right here. Okay, now I'm taking the ends of the ribbon, tying it in a knot. Right about there. One loop, shiny side out. Twist this so the shiny side is out as well as you bring it over the top. Then you're going to twist behind the knot. Feed this loop through the center knot. It's a little bit tricky here. And then pull. Okay, so you're at this point your bow's going to be a little large and wonky, so you're going to need to do some adjusting. Just push and pull different areas of the bow to create a look that you like. I like to try to keep all my satiny sides showing. Okay, and you can also position this with the help of some more Zots. Gonna go ahead and chop that off. There, there. And again with the Zots. I might even cut one of these Zots in half and just kind of put it underneath this little bow loop to help stick that in place so it doesn't get in the way of the card mechanism. Here's the other half. Go. And actually, I'm going to trim the ends a little shorter. I'm going to trim them in a little bit of a V, just for a feminine look. There we go. And there's my cute little bow. So here is the front now, and then open it up and you get this exploding box sweet surprise on the inside. And that's it for today's card. It's kind of fun because on the front you kind of don't really know what's going on, a little bit plain, and then when you open it, voila, you've got all these things popping out at you. You've got ice cream, candy, you're so sweet, the sweet life, watermelon, tons of stuff. So that's what's really fun about this, and it all folds conveniently flat for mailing. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and please stay tuned for today's bundle. First in today's bundle is the pop-up box die cut card set. So this comes with 5 cards and 5 envelopes, and it says 2 acetate sheets. Now those sheets are to be cut up into strips to use on your card. Here are more of our die cut card sets, and on the back is instructions on how to assemble this and decorate it, and here's a pattern on for covering your panels. And then these are the pieces themselves. It comes with 10 of these little strips because you'll need 2 for each card, and they fold on these fold lines. And like I said, all the instructions are on here, and I just showed you how to do one. There's the second acetate piece. Oh, they're both there. And then we have the card pieces themselves. So each one of these constitutes a card, and they get glued together. So there's 5 of those, and then finally there are 5 square envelopes, and these measure 6.5 by 6.5, so perfect to fit your card in. And like I said, make sure you check with your postal service to see how much postage you need on your finished card. Next we have the confetti cake satin ribbon set. These are in a 3/4 inch width, and they are nice and satiny, very bright colors. And it matches well with the Sweet Life paper pack, also in the bundle. These papers are 12 by 12, great for scrapbooking. They are all double-sided. There's a great idea for a scrapbook page, a card, scrapbook spread, and there's a picture of the card and the inside, and of course an image of each of the sheets. But let me give you a little bit closer look. So we have the first sheet, which has this really cheerful upper and lower border and embellished corners. On the back of that is this pink dot circle pattern, really cute. Then one of my favorites is the all over the stripe. This is a multi-stripe paper, and the ice cream cones are adorable. I love those. On the back is this chocolatey brown dot. It's kind of a micro dot, pretty small. And then we have an all over blue pattern that has pretty much all of the other colors as well. And you can see it's kind of a micro pattern with tiny little images in there. On the back of that is a grassy green with a white dot. Then we have an all over kind of a multicolored dot on top of a chocolatey brown background. This reminds me of Dippin' Dots, if any of you are a fan. And then orange with a nice white diagonal grid. And then we have this really pretty green with an all over heart pattern that's got all these different colors. And on the back of that is a very almost solid bright pink. And then another multi-dot, and this is on white, and this is really, really cheerful too. Great for kind of a confetti look. And on the back is a red grid. So those are 6 papers and you're getting 2 of each of those. Next in the bundle we have this Sweet Life foil paper towel, and the great thing about the foil paper towel is it has been etched. The design has been etched specifically to go with the artwork so that your ice cream will shine differently than your cherry and your spoon and your little logo here. It's got some great images on here. So we've got You're the Sweetest, then we've got the Sweet Life, and then we've got ice cream. Gotta love it. And then last but not least, the Tasty Sweets Dazzles, and this is in brown. And here's just a sample card and ideas on the back. There's all of them there. There are 25 stickers on here, so let me just show you the images. I love this part, You're So Sweet, with the banner. There's the ice cream, cotton candy, watermelon, popsicles, fudgesicles, this really cute border, like an awning on the front of this truck, ice cream truck, and the frozen yogurt cup, and just all the sweets that make your mouth water. So perfect for springtime too with the ice cream truck. These are the Tasty Sweets Dazzles. That concludes today's episode of Simply Ann. Thank you so much for joining me, and please see me again next week.